Supta Paribhasasana, all right? Do you guys remember what this adjustment looked like?
Yeah.
Okay. So could someone maybe just talk me through it very quickly?
The leg is up.
Okay, so take one leg, you can bind around the big toe, okay, or you can hold the ankle, wherever you feel comfortable, okay. Would we feel like Lily's maybe someone I would adjust in the class?
No.
Probably not, okay, she's super happy with the hamstring. If I wanted to adjust her, I wouldn't, because her hamstring's all the way there, but essentially if someone was less than 90, I would support their leg, okay, so in her case, I wouldn't. However, who's got slightly tighter hamstrings? Probably Sarah. It's a good thing. We need to work. So you actually just going to come and lie next to Lily. If you don't mind lying on the floor, just be so. Okay? We're going to have two beautiful little guinea pigs, but we're going to treat them very kindly. Okay, lift your leg, lift one leg up. Okay? So now I want you to take a strap. Okay, I'll bind it around your toe like a good teacher. All right? So in Seb's case, try to bring your leg up towards 90. Okay, you can see it's working really hard. You can even see her hands, a little bit of a shake. All right, so I come to stand here. I can either just hold her ankle. Obviously, just be aware that if she's working really hard, it might slingshot back at me. Otherwise, just place it into my hip. You can release the strap. How does it feel? Okay, now I know if I kind of push too far, it's going to be too much for her. I'm not here to take her further into the pose. I'm not here to make her look like I want her to look. But I can feel that she's still kind of working with it. So completely relax the strap down. I'm doing the work for you. Okay, so it's a lot more passive for her, but her hamstring's still working really hard, right? But just keep it as there. If I had to hold her, okay, so just keep your leg straight. You can relax into it, so make your leg nice and soft, all right? I'm going to just bring this out to the side. I can feel that if I move, I can start feeling a little bit of resistance here. Okay, I can feel a little bit of a shake. Okay, now if Seb is really nice to us and she's happy with it, I want you guys, okay, to come through, you can step your foot down, come through like very nice, compassionate, lovely teachers. So Lily's going to say that, okay, and Lily's going to lift one leg up, okay, to 90 degrees, okay, and you're going to come here and you're going to help, like, look how much I'm moving Lily's leg. I want you to feel that. Don't push it next to her again. I want you to feel that, and then Lily's going to place her leg down, you can swap. And then you're going to bring your leg up, and I'm going to move it so slowly. I just want you to feel the resistance. Even there, she's giving me resistance into the leg, okay? So when you can release it down, please don't hurt your friends. When you move and you're assisting someone into stretch, you'll feel, for some, there's give, okay? Because Lily's not near her end range yet. It's easy to move, okay? Once you approach end range, the muscle goes like, doesn't really tremor, like you meet resistance. That's the edge. Okay, we're not pushing past that. All right? I just want you to feel one and then the other. In fact, I'm also going to have, I'm not going to touch your hamstrings. I'm going to have Inka and Amy. Don't have to look really fine. You guys set up on that side too. So let's have two of you come here and two go there and just do the same thing. Okay, so because you don't know what their hamstrings feel like, you're going to approach it cautiously and gently. Okay, so we're going to have two people come here and feel, and then two people come there, and then you guys are going to feel on each other so you guys can feel it too. Okay, thanks so much, guys. All right, so Amy's going to come here. So two of us, maybe let's have Christina and Yvette here. So your legs up. So you can either hold the other half and you can relax your legs. So let them do the hard work. Okay, so what I want you to feel, those who are on the floor, your leg must be floppy. If I shake it, her leg is. So have a listen here, guys. When this person on the floor, sorry, it feels like a nice little massage. Like a little leg shake. When you guys on the floor, make your legs soft. Like they must hold 100%. You mustn't help them. Okay. So you want to feel that. There's a bit of resistance. Does it feel stretch? But it feels like you're fighting against me. Maybe she's like, no. But make it completely soft. Like, yeah. Somewhere in between. Okay, but it's also different. That she's also flexible, but it feels completely different to Lily's. Okay. So you're just gonna feel it out there and come back. But I want the person who's on the floor, maybe you put that out. So the person on the floor, I want you to do almost nothing. You're gonna have to have the legs straight.
Yeah, I was helping you a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but maybe completely relax. Okay, let's feel ink on this side, so someone can go and right. I'm sure. But you're just gonna feel there, make your leg nice and flat. But do you feel stretch? Make your leg relax.
No,
You still feel a bit of resistance. You can still.
feel sore.
It almost, look, you will feel the resistance if the person's going to stop you. Let your friend down nicely.
Oh, so I felt it good. I just felt the muscle touching.
Guys, when you have your friend's foot and you're holding your friend's foot, you're going to put your friend's foot nicely down on the floor again. Okay, be very mindful. If you want to give, you guys can go ahead and already feel the hip adjustment. Make sure where are you putting your friend's foot. Don't put it on your tummy or your boobs or anything. Also a height thing. Your hand and your hip. Okay, help your friend down, nicely. So, and hold it like, support them, hold it lovingly in a nice way. Okay, so you guys can swap it out. Those who were feeling, lie down on the floor. So now if you, someone come around and go around. So first feel the resistance and then try the hip adjust. You guys can feel it on me too, if you want to. So just make sure that you get to feel the hamstring stretch and you get to go around with it.
What do you mean by hip adjust?
So now we're going to do the supine hamstring stretch where you hold the person's leg in your hip, as the video did. Do you remember that? Okay.
Oh, is it watch?
Remember, you're only going to offer that adjust if someone's less than 90. It's going to be useless if I offer it to Lily because her leg is further than where my leg is going to go.
So sorry, what you did before we started using hands?
Yeah. Let's just quickly feel the resistance and then we'll go to the supine on the other side. Okay. So some you can feel just the resistance on the leg.
You saw it.
One leg is if someone's at 90 degrees, you're not going to want to too much time. That's really adjust. Because
It's more about
that's next to
like people also do the focus on the stretch instead of actually
you wouldn't, I mean, your hands are pretty flexible. You wouldn't feel comfortable. You're probably not feeling a lot of because we're having all right, so for most of us are pretty happy with hamstrings, okay? So for some of us, we brought the leg to 9, 10, we thought, oh, I can feel resistance. Chances are not really, because it's not, you haven't taken them further towards range, but you're already starting to feel very resistant, right? Everyone was kind of like, I'm not sure because it's not my body and I don't know what it feels like. So only when the other person went, oh no, it's fine, and you know, okay. And we don't really have that interaction every time you do it. Fine, what about, you know, it's like something happened.
Yeah.
So a lot of students would only feel that resistance when you're pushing it further towards more of an end range. Maybe you felt it more with Seb and Lily as comparison as to how the one leg moved a little bit easier, other one felt a little bit more resistance. Just so you can get an idea of a scale, right?
Do you never pass, so Cheryl like goes just past 90, so should I stop when she gets to 90 or do you go?
Look, so in this case, we wouldn't really adjust someone who can get past 90 because they might be able to hold the strap easily, at least at 90 by themselves, or hold their foot or back of the leg. If a student was here,
Yeah.
then if someone holds my leg there, look, I might only be able to hold it here. I'm not going to push them to 90 because I want them at 90. If they can only hold it there, then someone, let's say for example, Seb might come here, you can do the little supine thing on me. She's going to take my leg, okay, so she's going to hold her, just hold her on my ankle, just because I've got a blister, not a normal human. Okay. So she's All right, so she's gonna hold it, let's say there, it's a bit resistant. She's gonna come towards me and she's gonna place my heel into her hip. All right, and she's gonna say, are you fine? And then I'm gonna say, yes, I'm fine. If I go like this, she might step, what's gonna happen if she steps further away?
It's gonna release.
It's gonna be a little bit less, so she's gonna have to gauge. She doesn't want to push me to 90. I know my leg can go there, but you'll feel when a student's too much for them. So this is just gonna take the load off of my leg, okay? Then when she leaves, she's gonna grab my ankle again. She's either gonna say, grab your foot. So when you grab, like, have a method, I'm either gonna grab my foot or she's gonna give me the strap once again, and then she can move away when I'm safe. Meaning when I'm not gonna let them
Yeah.
Yeah. Quickly pair up and just do the hamstring adjustment on each other. All right, just work with the hamstrings you've got if you want to pretend to be someone, but it's hard to pretend when you don't know what it's like. Okay, so just pair up, maybe with someone fairly the same height as you. So maybe Inka and Cheryl, just approximately, because if you're short and you've got someone who's no, hold on. So maybe Anna can go with Amy, and then Lily can come with me. Okay, so I want to see your supine hip adjustment. So I'm going to watch you do it. Okay, I'm going to watch them and it's okay, one on the ground is supine hip. Let me just stand now. Yes, but I'm going to watch you guys now. So your supine hamstring adjustment, I want to see what it looks like. Okay, into your hip. Yes.
You can.
Okay, so you're so too far for my hip.
That's fine.
And if it's painful,
So what's the deal? You start with your leg up.
You can go more.
so that's what you're doing.
Yes.
But then you can let your hands go and you say, yeah, it's going Can show you mine. So most of the time the weight's getting on the so you just gonna stay through, yeah. Most of the time it's gonna feel like it's and then you can release your hands, just hold on.
So this is what I just did using the your
right.
so using
Oh, there's two. Small ones. I mean, like,
Thank you.
So she's gonna lean into you. You are her support. So you're not there to push her further in. So you're there in this boat to take the load off her hands as she's using a strap. So I'm not there to push her further. I'm here to. You're gonna feel if the person has limited hamstrings, it's gonna be a slight push into you. Okay. All right. So what I want you guys to think of when you do these adjustments is if I walk up to a student, I need to know what I'm doing, what I'm wearing, and I need to be kind of confident that I know we're playing around with it. But so you need to know then what you're gonna do when you got there. So if Lily lies down and she lifts up her legs, and let's pretend she's straddling in her one leg up into the ceiling. So just hold behind the legs, have a little bit of a bend. She's just gonna. So she's gonna be here, and if she's had a strap, I'm gonna say let go of the strap, and I'm gonna say relax your leg. I'm gonna help you. Okay. I'm maybe gonna say I'm gonna help you. So I'm gonna take some of the load off. Relax your leg into my hip. How does it feel? Cool. You're probably going to be here for like 10 breaths, then you're going to release. And you say, okay, cool, you can bend into the knee, grab behind your leg, and release. So still tell them what to do. There's not much time in terms of faffing too much around it. In a private mat, maybe. Okay, but you're just going to go in there, you know what you're doing. Okay, cool, I'm going to help you here. Yeah, for that.
If you were one-on-one or one-on-three or whatever, and your student wanted you to not just be comfortable, but they wanted to see how far their leg could go.
That would be a different situation.
Yeah, it's a totally different situation, but like with their consent, it's and communicating, going like, okay, that still feels fine, that still feels fine. Like, is that cool to do that?
I would get them to also do it with their strap. Hold your strap, start putting your leg towards you until you feel your edge. Okay. Instead of me pushing, because they also then kind of like navigating that situation on their own.
Yeah.
So it would depend on the environment. You could do that, but then if they can move past 90, they can also do it with strap
True.
by themselves.
Yeah.
So you're just going to go up there and you're going to say, release your strap, hold their ankle, put it in your hip. You can say, cool, relax your leg into me. How does that feel? Cool, done.
So if the shoulders lift up while they're holding the strap, then that's.
Well, if they relax their shoulder down and their leg moves
Yeah,
further than 90.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then
It's
that's-
mostly the leg that we're looking at here. And maybe if they're holding on for dear life, the arms, relax your arms, maybe not your leg. And remember, the leg is here. Okay, so Olivia, I'm going to ask you to come down once again. So for some of you, which is fine, because we're kind of navigating, like, tiptoeing around it, so your leg goes up. So if I'm kind of like hanging out here, this feels a little bit weird. But if I'm kind of, you see, even her, like her heel is way higher than my hip, she's taller than me. So if you were good shoulders like Inka and Cheryl, your leg would be really high. So just be also mindful of like, how am I supporting their body? And so out your hip is also really stable. Okay, so you just kind of go straight towards it. Okay, any questions about this one? Can't say I've ever done it in a class, but I think it does help for students. Okay, all right. The next one we've got is, all right, so we've seen the seated forward fold and the Baddha Konasana. We're not going to do that one pushing the sacrum into it. But what I want you guys to quickly, in your pairs, I want your student to come into a Paschimottanasana, and I want you to watch your student and cue if you see anything. Okay, so if you see there's rounding in the upper back, can you say, can you soften the shoulders? Can you find a little bend to your knees? Watch them and play around with it. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to join into 3, because 2 of you will do it at the same time and the other one will just observe, and then I'm just going to walk around. Okay, so one person's going to go into Paschimottanasana and the other one's just going to observe it and maybe give an adjustment if you see fit. Not adjustment, a verbal adjustment. So you can be, no, so you will go with 2 and 2, they're in 3 and they're in 2.
Okay, we just go next to each other. Because you're not touching. We don't need your height. Okay.
If you
Let's put shoulders back to side and open the chest. And maybe even bend the legs. I should see what happens if you bend the legs. You're very comfortable in that position.
I think it's mostly.
So you see sometimes I'm saying to be like you. You look at this.
Okay, so I have some learned to actually
Okay, do you really do a handstand? Do you really go back? Okay, so pause for a moment. What we noticed on the, sorry, you guys know. What, did you guys do each other? Too? What we noticed on this side was Sif and Ala, who are both struggling with their hamstrings, they naturally went to a big deep version anyway, so they already adjusted themselves. If you remember the video with Catherine, we found Erin was kind of like this. So Catherine said, bend your knees, bend your knees, bend your knees, get that lift, fold forward. Then she told her to straighten her legs a little bit, and then check in there, hamstrings still working. What happens to our spine in a forward fold?
Round.
It will round, okay. So the only time I would be too concerned, and not so much even concerned, the only time I would take note, you remember Angela's video? Do you remember she had her legs straight and she was kind of like this? And I can't feel my hamstrings here. I feel my back. Okay. So if I was kind of like this and I couldn't feel my back, I could bend my knees and then move towards there. There I can feel my hamstrings quite a lot. Okay. So in terms of if I was here, or even if I was here and I could feel my hamstrings and I wasn't feeling my back, the back will round. So that's what we need to know. So we don't want to tell our students to straighten the spine and lean forward. As if they can feel their hamstrings, that's what we're going for. Okay. So that's a question I wouldn't spend too much, you don't want to spend so much time here. But if your students were here, then you'd say bend your knees, lean forward. Do you feel your hamstrings? Yes? Okay, cool. Right. Okay. That same kind of thing. Right, any questions about the forward fold?
So if you have like, I know I have a very round, if I don't adjust, then I'm like, have a very, very round back.
Yeah, it's a different story for you guys in your pose review that you're holding the top of the feet. And I say to you, instead of doing that, look how nothing changes in my lower body and I just do that. Does anything look like it changes besides my arms? No, right? So for some of us, people go like this, which, I mean, if they're happy, they're like, it's fine. But in terms of just knowing that they don't need to do that, you know, I can bring my hands down to my ankles and still take a forward fold like this without doing this. Do you see what I mean? It's actually, I wouldn't say pull, I would say relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Okay, so it's not head to knees, all right? So I'm kind of folding, so that's why we kind of do inhale, arms up, lean forward, grab a hold where you are, hang out there. We don't say round, bring your knee. If you wanted to get into spinal flexion, then you can bring your knee towards your nose or cue towards it. Does that make sense? Or nose towards knee. You feel that? So it's also how you come into the pose and not telling students it's okay to bend the knees. Okay, all right. Warrior one, all right. So you guys are now going to pair up into your students. And I want you guys to be bad students. Just want you to give your teacher something that they can do, all right? Do you remember the adjustments from what Catherine did with the arms particularly? Okay, let's get someone up here while on your bed can come. I just don't want you to lift your arms up. Okay, so Yvette's gonna take a warrior one, bend to the front knee, all right? So if I wanted to adjust, I mean, even then, it would be more about if I was going to cue her arms. I mean, I kind of want to be like, if she's taking a V shape, maybe she's doing that because of scaption, right? Let's say she was kind of doing like something funny like that. If she was doing something like that, all right? Then what I could do, just a light little touch, I could say extend your arms up there, and I might do your arms there. I don't fiddle too much with the back knee or front knee in warrior one. There's a lot happening there too. But just know that you see a lot of teachers do like all kinds of things. It depends on what's happening with their shoulders, right? I could also just say straighten your arms, good. And if she wanted to, she might go naturally into a scaption position if it felt better for her. Okay. So I just want you guys to feel what it feels like in terms of finding that kind of arm position. Just with the fingertips finding a little bit of lift. Okay, but let's just come into a warrior one and actually look at each other's warrior one. Cool, you can go there. I want you guys to feel what it's like to even, so take note of what does it feel like to even come up, have a listen quickly. What does it feel like to even come up behind someone and touch their hands? Notice what it feels like. Okay, so do something kind of with your arms. Well, if I had to come in front of her, I'm going to have to be like here. And this is very intense. So you're going to be from the back. So you're going to stand from the back and to the side. But you're not going to stand, you know, take notes of how, I also want you guys to look at where you stand. I would even do less touching. Because it's stroking. where to go.
So reach your arms up.
You wouldn't spend that much time on.
It feels very, okay, let's start again.
Start from your
It's almost an
Let's
island.
I can do what I would normally do.
If I was walking around.
You're perfect where I
Running
am.
around here.
Release the hands. At this point, your fingers up.
Yeah.
If you feel,
I wouldn't spend
you
too much time there.
the bind,
Do
your
those
shoulders
things
up.
from the bed, which
So when your hands are loose, you'll be actually using the muscle.
But it's literally straighten.
Beautiful.
But you're right.
This is
So what did you guys notice about this one?
Most people know what they're doing.
So what Lily said is she's like, why would I do this? And so in some cases it would be, and I said in let's say in Seb's case, if Seb came onto the match, I mean, even then, I wouldn't fiddle too much with the hips in Warrior 1 because I know there's stuff happening with the hips. Some teachers would come and square the hips. We know that's not quite how it works. But let's say I say, okay, don't listen to me. So I say straighten your arms, straighten your arms. No, don't listen to me. Sometimes students forget it, but they don't quite know what that means, right? So just take your arms like this, and I'll say arms straight up, whatever. And I was walking past, and then I would go, no, straighten your arms up, straighten your arms. There we go. And then I would move on with my life and carry on teaching. That would be it. It's not a very big, okay, hands, when you're elbowing 5 degrees. Yeah, but most of the time, students will cue it. Then you can even in the same class say, hey guys, arms, 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 strong arms. And say it in front of everyone, show them. Because most of the time, your physical adjust is the last thing that you need.
Yeah.
Verbal, demonstrate, and adjust. Okay. But that's really, just feel what it's like to come to people from behind and touch their arms. Just notice what it feels like to adjust, notice what it feels like to adjust. Okay, pyramid pose. All right, so let's get a vet here again. Okay, so I'm going to ask a vet to be a bad yogi. Okay, no, guys. So still do a pyramid pose. Okay, fold forward over your leg, and then just bump this hip back, because a lot of students will kind of do that. Okay, and then just kind of, you can relax your head down. All right, so what would happen is sometimes students, you guys saw it in Erin's video, that sometimes kind of up, kind of lowering down. And so in her case, she's fine with it, well, not fine, but she's got long hamstrings, okay? Bend into your front knee as if you had stiff hamstrings too, okay? So in that case, I would come up here. If you can support the back leg, which was helpful, but even then, this is quite intense, all right? So I might come up and say, come up a little bit, so bring your hands onto your shins, all right? And then I would say, pull this back hip forward. Yeah, back hip back, right hip forward, right hip back, left hip forward. And then I would use kind of fingers the same length in here. Okay, all right. Now you can fold forward. Before I actually move, I should actually make sure she's stable. Because if I'm holding her and I let her go, and she topples over, that's not going to be a good time. All right. And then I would say bring your hands down to each of the foot. Good. And then you can fold forward.
But now I'm confused because after watching all those videos, it felt as though you coming up with your legs over the back leg was sort of like an inappropriate.
Exactly, don't do it.
So yes, I don't feel very comfortable doing that to most of my students unless I know them really well. And Catherine says that into the video that you wouldn't really do this unless this was someone you knew really well. First time students, I would never judge anyone if they were even in their first 3 to 6 classes of sorts. Okay. The problem is the only reason I came so close to her is if I could stand here and say, okay, Yvette, fold forward, bring your hands into your shins, halfway lift. Okay, pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Okay, now find a little lift into your chest, broaden to the side of the body, exhale, fold down. That pretty much, because she's quite body aware, she could follow it step by step. If I was working in a private, maybe they wanted that and I felt fine with it, but it's not, like we say, it's not really a comfortable territory for anyone. Even for me, I would never do this adjust in a class, but I want you guys to feel that because I'm doing it, I know I don't feel, unless we were in a teacher training space, I wouldn't offer this anywhere else. So I kind of made the judge that this kind of crosses the boundary for me. But I want you guys to feel it so you know why. Okay. So I might, if she was just in a warrior one, like let's say a pyramid pose, Instead of, the reason why some teacher just grounds their back knee is because if she falls forward, okay, and I kind of say, no, pull that hip, it might, okay, she wouldn't do it that much, just bring her back. But if I was cueing that, she could lose her balance. So that's it. I mean, I've done classes and adjustment courses where I was holding that back leg all the time. I mean, even for me, I'm quite taller than her, so I need to walk all the way here to even, like, I'm pretty much almost touching your bum with my leg. I'm not gonna lie.
So will you not do adjustments with your hands in this pose unless you hold them back? Like this is
Well,
touching
in a pyramid, if the feet are a
like
little bit wider, they may be stable enough. But in terms of that's just to show you in the video. I want you guys to feel it out. I'm not saying this is the way you have to do it in the class. I want to show you that's kind of how it is. Just swap legs quickly. You don't have to, because if she was in a forward fold, just open up that hip like you kind of did previously. Okay? And I just came in and I said, pull this hip back, pull that hip forward. Good, feel a little bit of length at the side of the body. Good. Already it looks a little bit better. And I didn't have to go too close to her, but I'm still touching her hips and her ribs, and this is still quite, any touching is intimate. I don't know, feels since COVID, it's like, woo, any touching is just like, should I have asked permission for any touching? Which the answer is yes. Okay, I just want you to feel it and know, because you'll see a lot of teachers grab that back leg. I've been adjusted a lot of time with teachers holding my back leg. I want you to feel what it's like to do it, and is it really necessary? Okay. Give it a try.
practice on the
No, I do it.
So you use it. Pyramids. So I'll just feel that.
But hang on,
You see how close it is? We play. You see, it feels odd.
it feels more awkward than it was.
Yeah, but
Try
it's very.
Try it on the other side while standing there. Just try it. Split it down, bend your right.
And I'm saying,
So one of no, so not long again. You see, so you can't do anything, it's not one thing.
Yes.
So
I
no, that's fine, but you can, that's what you're trying to do.
So you used to the feeling of
Hey, how did that one feel? What did I take home from that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that leg one, the reason is because.
permission to.
You guys did your session with Penny, right?
Yes.
And so Penny would say like, so it feels more intense for you because already Cheryl's stance is quite short. So her back leg is not as far back as if it was, for example, mine.
She's doing it on purpose.
So have a look here. If my stance was shorter, look how close my hips are to my heel. If my stance was longer, look how much further it is to find that foot. So if someone's doing a pyramid like this, if I hold the back leg, I literally have my hips on their back. Literally. And I mean, like, read the room, but the room says no. So I think just the reason why there's always been this holding the back leg is from the point of the teacher wanting to provide stability before an adjust, okay? If there's an adjust that's going to provide instability, you know, there's like
It's a little bit wider.
I say like move your hips, but be careful, like take your balance, kind of like so that the student knows that, you know, you might lose balance or something.
in terms of, yeah, so you would, but if you can create imbalance and then try to tell them to find balance in a place that they clearly don't feel balance in, they're getting a little bit shut out. Same thing if you're helping someone in a half period, 95% of the time they follow. And this one more forward, and this one more back.
Reach to.
So I would tell her to come up first.
To
So,
insert like
so more to
halfway.
bring, so when you fold it forward, lift up, find length, do,
Okay.
to do that hip thing from a fold, you're already in the pose. So
Yes.
come up, hips, length, fold. You
Okay.
can fold a little bit, it's not quite as rounded. Okay, do you guys feel that?
Yeah.
So in some,
You're waiting for me to do it.
to be honest,
I don't want to
in
hurt
a
you.
pyramid pose, so Nika's like, and what, you know, if you don't come with confidence.
But I know
it's gonna
she's
feel.
got one skew hip and
But also if you come, if you go up to, I mean, you wouldn't do this if you were feeling unconfident. Unconfident? Unconfident?
Yeah.
Is that a word? But you wouldn't do it anyway, because if you're feeling uncertain, it's gonna come across that way. It's gonna be like,
Yeah.
So in a way, in a pyramid, you could just come, just one more time, Francesca, if you don't mind, just doing a little open hip, because that's really the only thing that we really see, is if she was doing it, yeah, so do a pyramid, so folding forward, and then just open up your right hip, okay? I could even just come here and say, pull this back hip back, forward, good. Look, her back heel spins up, if I wanted her to do that. If I'm telling her to go fully square to the front, it's gonna lift the heel. So also just know that if any doesn't, might totally implicate a pose, then I can't go, no, sorry, heel down, no, pull this heel down. It's like a chain reaction, okay? So use your verbal cues, but now you just know, okay? But that lengthening of the side body, you say it's like two little fingers, two little hips. I'm not,
Yeah.
it's not, there's no stroking, there's no grabbing, it's just a tick, little. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so we did Uttanasana on the last one, so this is more if there was excessive rounding. So let me just use Francesca again, even though her hamstrings are pretty happy. So let's say she's pretty much going to look like this. Okay? Then I think bring your hands, so in a pose like this, all right, it's the same thing as a seated forward fold. You know, we said we can have the hands to the side of the body, find lift into the chest, you feel into the hamstrings. So I'd say bring your hands into your chin, hands onto your shins, find a little bit of a lift into the chest, good. And this is actually just the same thing, little touch, the same thing we're going to do later with cat and cow, but you can just say bring a little lift into your chest. Cool, are you happy? Move on. Okay, so I've actually cued her to do a halfway lift instead of a forward fold, because even in a halfway lift, they will feel their hamstrings.
And bending the knees or not?
You could say bend into the knees, but for some students, look, try it out, go into your students, but when we don't have a lot of people with like limited hamstrings yet, but in that case, you wouldn't do much if their knees were bent and fully rounded. You might go past them and say, you can bend your knees, but you would say that in your cueing.
Yeah.
You might say forward fold, you can bend your knees. That make sense? Okay, so we'll come in, but just practice a little halfway lift one, just so if you wanted to show like what a lift in the shoulders, because sometimes any sort of sensory tapping kind of brings awareness to that point, right? So all I want you to feel is like what it's like to say halfway lift, that kind of tapping. Make sense? Okay.
Tell me what I'm getting. Okay, so you forward, fold. As I stand in front. Okay, so you're gonna reach your hands up.
Okay.
Lean forward, look forward.
But bring your hands to your chest to make sure
And whenever you feel comfortable, you can stop and just
So if you want to lift your chest, it's helpful to say lift up.
your hands.
So kind of way, and sometimes I will just grab So shoulders. So you can also, yeah, so Yeah, you may not. Some you may. So some may, but they don't feel happy with you. She basically.
Yeah.
Because they move towards. So for some, even babies like this.
Yeah.
So it's. When they go back, yeah.
That's not sore. So when they stretch, they're not sore, but as soon as I'm
Yeah, I think if
I'm sitting, if I'm sitting,
Okay, any questions about this one? Okay, you will see it when you teach sometimes, even for you guys, I often cue halfway left, look, broaden the collarbones. Okay, so it's a cue that I often give a lot of you guys, so you'll notice it in the room, people will be like this. Okay, which we kind of want that. So what you guys kind of cue down there, is just pull, lift, broaden the collarbones, pull the shoulder blades back slightly. So it's something that you will see in a lot of poses too. Okay. All right. Triangle pose. Okay, can I have a triangle demo? Okay. So what is the adjustment we've got it in triangle?
Square.
So now we're going to come another way. Someone want to come to a triangle? Anyone? I don't mind. Okay, Francesca, you got it. Okay, so Francesca's got a pretty good triangle anyway. So feet a little bit wider. Okay. So let's have. Okay, so if she was coming into the pose, now she's already known what she's doing. Do a side bend.
Sorry.
So just do this. Okay, and then round those top shoulders like. Okay. Okay. So that's fine. So in most times you'll get someone that's kind of in here, all right? So I can stand behind her and I can say, let this hip come with you. Yes, like that. And then I can say, bring this hand onto this hip. So bend your elbow, hand onto your hip. Okay. And then I'll say, rotate the shoulder open, then lift your top arm up. Okay. So all I've done is I can guide. Just be mindful about, I'm not pushing her, you can come back up. All right. So I'm not guiding your hip forward, but I'm just saying, here, let this hip come forward. I might even say, let this hip come forward. It's nice to do that shoulder from hand on hip. Because for them, if I'm saying shoulder, they do this. Okay? But bring your hand onto your hip, rotate the chest, and then just tell them to extend the hand. You're just doing on your shoulder, on the head of the shoulder. It's literally like a touch. It's not a push, it's a little tweak. Play around with it. I want you guys to do a triangle where you kind of hip open, slightly rounded.
Okay, but you can feel. Okay.
Other way. You want it to come forward.
Okay, so that's
Bring this hip a little bit forward with your hands.
which is great.
Yep, so you're good. I like the way you do the shoulder, but if it's on my shoulder, say like just one hand. Because sometimes two shoulders.
On the good side. Or that side.
Well,
we don't know. We can. I'm going to take those. Bring your right arm up. Bring your right arm up and then slightly round forward.
So bring up just like that. So not.
No, I want you to do it badly. No.
I see what you mean. Yeah, that's just bring this arm up wherever your arm goes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna bring this side come with you forward. You can rotate this a little bit on the other side. And then you bring this a little bit back. Bring this arm.
Cheryl, that looks good. Lean your upper body slightly back, your bottom shoulder goes.
Yeah, so try.
I wouldn't do this in a class, but I want you to lean your upper body and then there. You feel that? That's a lean. That looks nice and open. I don't know how you feel. Come up. That looks great. I wouldn't say your hips. You could have that back too, so a little bit more than I would. But the shape looks really nice. And then as soon as you kind of come down, you're probably the most open up in your shoulder. And I think it's that bit, and then it's like a little bit. Now we feel yeah. I want you to do the other side and then just grab your phone and you take a photo. I want you to see what that looks like. Hey guys, I just really want to show you one thing. So just quickly have just a bit, come on here. So I want you to take note of also touching too much, right? So you've kind of got like little fingery, spidey fingers. And so some of you are doing, okay, touch this here, bring this here, and then like, so they can do a lot more than what, so you also want to touch as little as possible. So if she was in that pose, just come into your bad one again. That's us, so yeah, okay? So all I would do is pull this, oh, sorry, I did the same thing. The opposite, I would say, let this come with you, okay? Bring your top hand into your hip, okay? Rotate the shoulder open, okay? Top arm up. I only need to make 2 touches. So I don't need to guide her hand, unless she's like, what are you talking about? You'll say this hand on your hip.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to put the hand on their hip. Okay, I think I did that earlier, I didn't need to do that. So you want to always touch as little as possible. So don't bend the hip forward. All I need to do is say hand on hip. Okay, cool. All right, top arm and shoulder. Feel? Yes. Up. Okay, so we do one more time. Any questions on that?
Let's bring this hand to your hip.
No, your hips first.
Bring this hand, Q first before I do.
So I would actually say stand behind. It feels awkward, but when you're behind, you can say, oh, this is okay. Then the hip come forward. See what you mean? Your right back. Okay. Left hand.
Great.
Yeah, rotate the chest open.
Try to shoulder over your hips, as if you were, and you release the arm up to the side.
Now bring your hand onto your, bring your hand onto your leg like this. And then just lean right there.
You look completely like this.
I think you're putting your hip open a little bit more.
Yeah, but
See, I think this is the side that pulls it a bit more. Yes, look, if it's feeling a little, that really looks better. Just take a photo, just snap it. And then I want you to see it on the other side, so just come up and do triangle on the other side. Just face the other way.
Now you know what's.
So do my breath. Well, just come into it, just so I can you got it. That's one more way forward. Just put it forward. So being yeah. Alright, now extend your right arm up. Okay. Lean back slightly. You're not dropping it as much as what you did on the other side, but I don't know how it feels for you. I want you to lean slightly back into there. Do you feel that? Don't move.
Yeah, I'm staying behind you.
It's still a little bit. The first time you did it looked. The first time you did it looked okay. So just kind of bring that leaning down.
So you lean back but not bring your arm.
But you pull the hip open there again.
So then
it's hard to do when you're in the pose. Sometimes you need to come outside. But anyway, so you can come out of it. So sometimes you'll feel students you'll say let that hip come forward, lean, and then when they rotate open, they'll open the hip. So you want to feel that rotation come from the shoulder, not the hip. Okay. But now you watch people, you've seen how people move.
You're leaning back nicely there.
Yeah. But you let this, it doesn't quite look the same as the first time you did it. All right. Okay, any questions about triangle pose? But even then, you can have people come up to standing and say, feel this? You guys feel this? Cool. Keep your hips there, lean. You can teach triangle in a different way. Okay. Any questions on that? Extended side angle is very similar. So let's have sit. And do an extended side angle. So I want you to do one that's kind of like this. Okay? Okay, so first I would say feet, right foot to left in an arch. So, okay, so you need to walk your right foot more towards the center. So you this heel needs to move further back. So you can use the line as reference if you wanted to. Okay, take an extended side angle. All right. Now even then, I would say bring your top hand onto your hip. Okay, rotate the shoulder open. Okay, now maybe I might say find length here, if sometimes you can get them, and then sweep that left arm forward, around and up in line with the ear. You see how much different that looks? Yeah. It's not a big thing. Okay, I would then just bring your arm here, just for your own reference, kind of more like that. Sometimes we have arms facing that way, so just check that out. Okay, so come into it, hand on hip. Okay, so students are like this. You're gonna say, bring your hand onto your hip, rotate your shoulder open. If they dump it in here, you can say push, just have a look here. You can even just say push into that bottom arm and then sweep the arm in line with the ear. Okay, so observe what you see.
Okay, so now we are going to take this top arm.
Okay.
I wonder if you should first put your top arm. That's it. Put it on your hip first. Now you're going to open the shoulder. Perfect. Then we're going to sweep forward.
Yes,
And
there
over.
you go.
Rotate my hand in the right. This right. That nice strong fingers in the warrior. Very good. Nice strong fingers in the bottom hand.
Okay.
Now,
Take your
You
arm
just-
to your hip.
I'm really leaning forward.
Not a lot, it's gonna be like this. I wouldn't even refer too much about your fingers, but you could just say you turn your phone so then you can make a nice
Great.
But it's good to know, then you see hands do with the things like that. Amy, do your extended side angle.
Okay, extended side angle. Your back heel should be in line with the front.
You see what you're doing?
So try and get your
Yeah. So it's like exercise skills, you can go over that. And then you come to the back to
And
this.
bend the front leg.
It's not a bad thing, but
Rest
sometimes
the left arm
someone that kind of
underneath.
rotates inside.
Extended side angle.
It's almost like the
Yeah,
right
arm
arm
straight up now.
It's not a lot, it's not excessive.
My arms are not in line with my body.
Have a look at the video, there's sometimes the warrior too, it's like side forward, side back.
Bring your arms
Yeah.
down.
Extended side.
Yeah, this is like behind.
So now extended side.
Your
Yeah.
arms now line with the line on the mat.
But I don't want the arm to go back. I want to take the
The line's very nice.
No, this is very
I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to switch directions.
Okay, any questions about extended side angle? You can finish that one.
Let's put the top hand on the hip first, and open the shoulder as much as you can, and then swing the
You
arms
might
forward.
find, Inka, when you're standing behind someone, it's easy to open up the shoulder. When you're
Okay,
standing in
when
front
you-
of them, you
to
have
like-
to
Like
push.
push. But here you can just say,
Yeah, it's almost, it's a body position. I mean, anytime you ever adjusting, you want to make sure you're stable first. Because if I'm standing like this and leaning and I fall on top of the student, that's just going to be bad. So standing behind, although we know feels weird having someone stand behind us, it allows you, especially when they're opening up, that if you're staying open, they're moving towards you rather than pushing. I don't want to say push that, open up that shoulder, and I,
oh, so like.
not that I'm pushing harder, but do you see the difference?
Yeah.
It's just helpful, even if it's not, even if it's slightly diagonally, I'm still behind them and maybe they can see and I can do that. I've noticed it just works better. Okay, any questions about the standing one? How do we feel about them? Do we feel we'll use any of them?
No.
Maybe not.
Even as
Maybe like the
a student,
arm
it
adjustments,
feels,
you know,
the
the arms
help
up, then
feels.
someone just.
And you also, interestingly enough, if you ever, like, let's say you found everyone in your class was doing that, you could come in front of them and mirror image them and say, okay, well, you see this, you see that?
Yeah.
You do that.
Yeah.
And then mirror them, let them watch you do it at the same time. So the only time I would say demo is applicable is if you're showing them, they're copying, and if they don't, you'd be like, no, this direction, because sometimes they'll do the opposite. They're still figuring it out. Okay, all right, cat and cow. So let's just have someone in all fours. Very simple, Amy can come. I'll just pick. Super duper simple, okay? So this is only if I wanted protraction into the shoulders. So let's say she's in a plank and she's kind of like that, then all I would say, push up into my hand. And then I move on with one arm, okay? Let's say she does the same thing in plank. Let's say I'm just doing a regular plank pose, okay? And then just drop, like squeeze your shoulder blades together, drop slightly, okay? And I'd say push up into my hand a little. If I was doing a protracted plank, okay? Lift your hips a little bit. I couldn't actually see right there, shouldn't have moved. There's a little bit here, I've actually cued them too high now, drop your hips a bit. Okay, all right. So it's more, if I wanted to do protraction, just a hand there, encourage where I need to push, okay? If I was doing the opposite, I could say drop here, okay? Do you see that? Okay, hips will come with it. Drop your knees down, just come into a regular tabletop. And then let's say I was trying to work on protraction and retraction, I could say drop here, drop it, there we go. That's what retraction feels like, squeeze shoulder blades together, okay? So all I want you guys to do is someone move into like a retracted position, put your hand on your back and say push up here. And that's it, okay? All right, if I was doing a crow class or if I wanted to do a lot of stepping in between the hands, like knee to noses, if I wanted to do protractions, I would do that, okay? So let's feel that one. Okay. Actually, sorry, I wanted you to do two at the same time. Let's quickly bring Amy back here. One more time, because the next one is actually for plank, so let's do them both together. So let's say in which case, let's say we've got someone in a plank pose, okay? And now we've done the hip, shoulders left fine, but the hips drop. Okay, which we see a lot of in yoga, all right? And they'd probably move more like into like a little lumbar dip. So all I would do is I put my hands on the hips and I'd say lift up the hip, okay? And then even in some cases we saw with Amy and with, you can drop your knees down, but we saw with Amy and Lorato, when they move into chaturanga, sometimes that happens, okay? So that's almost like a tap of sorts. So if you said drop, lift the hips, and they did this, then you would say, no, like that. Okay, so how I would do it is if, just to show you, yeah, let's show you. Because I thought let's just see how it happens. So drop your hips a little bit. If I said lift up into the hips, cool, now you can tuck there. You would do kind of like tilt like that. So lift your hips up, like, you can do it tuck more. Stick your bum out. Oh, sorry, I mean like, sorry, like, we're going to do that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get you to
Right, okay.
Okay, all that does is like two hands. So if I say lift up your hips and you go into like sticking your bum up, almost like if you're going into a plank. So I'll do the opposite of what you do now. Okay, hold on, let me get someone else. Have you watched
you see it because it's something I'm
Yeah,
actually
okay.
struggling with.
Let's have someone who I know let's see a bit. I don't know. Look, this might not happen. I'm just trying to show you because sometimes when I say lift hips, someone will stick the bum out. Okay? So let's say if it's in a plank pose, drop your hips, lower to the floor. Now when but keep going straight. Okay? I mean hips lower to the floor, but not you. Okay, plank pose. Now if I say lift your hips up, stick your bum out like that. Okay? That's not what I wanted to do in a plank either. So I can bring my hand and say no, tuck here. Yeah, lift up, kick your heels away. Okay? Now you can do. Okay, alright. I wouldn't actually, most of the time you can say lift your hips, but sometimes you get people stick their bum up, and then so you just kind of want to do a little tilt with them. You can drop your knees down. I wouldn't actually too much worry even about tilts, because it's weird. Now we get people doing all kinds of funny things. It's just awkward.
Figure it out myself.
You were just doing posterior the whole time. But also for some people it feels so odd in a plank to do that. You're gonna have to arch your back. Okay, but don't worry about it. I want you guys to just feel dropped hips, lift hips. Just feel what it's like when they do this to this. Okay? What does it feel like to have your hands on someone's hip? What does it feel like to have your hands on someone's upper back? Okay.
So are we doing cat cow?
Do your cat cow and then your plank.
Coming to a cat. Maybe you can bring the shoulders right back and open your chest. So pull the shoulders. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
And then your hand.
In your retracted position, your whole hand can be on the back. You can touch their back. That's fine.
Beautiful. Perfect. She's going to plank on the back there right now. Okay,
I think he's got
That's fine.
Slightly.
Okay, so it's like,
That's fine.
And bring your shoulders back and up, that's fine.
Well, I would say how she was fine. Depends what you're doing, but what you did before she always looked good.
Yeah.
If she was moving into a chaturanga, how you did that to move into a chaturanga, you did fine, but you're fine.
Okay.
Yes, that's what, see, that's what was I doing, how she had fun.
So you have to go this way.
It's more to do.
It's very experience, yeah.
Okay, just a little bit higher, but so.
Okay,
So now we're gonna go into a nice calm. Okay, so on to the other side.
So just drop your hips.
And you're going to-
So you told me.
So now we need
Oh, we really do.
When you can
start
It's not
trying to move and then
Imagine, okay, now you might have to alter that and maybe if you're gonna make it go. So make sure you're doing counts. I'm sorry, counts. That's what we practice. It looks like the 10 numbers. You can talk back right. So you'll get the same little bit higher, and then it's going outside, but even there, it remains a little bit. So let's take a load of straight and like, I feel it's hard, I've done my growth stop. I mean, it's nice. So you will just start keeping the moisture on the Okay, any questions about that one? But I was just going to stop throwing students to try and they notice something that because often if they're dropping their hips for the arms turn, this one is the reason why. Okay. All right, any questions about the plank and the cat? Sometimes people or students don't know what protraction is, given. I mean, it's not a normal thing. So when you say round protraction, then it's like, that's it. So sometimes they just need to feel the hand in for the push. So that one's a nice one that's helpful. Push here. Okay, all right. Next up, we're going to do downward facing dog. So our 2 downward dog adjustments, all right? One with the hand on the sacrum, and then the other one with the strap. Okay, so I want you guys to grab a strap and just feel it out. In fact, I love them, they're great. So let me get, So from watching the video, what did you guys observe in terms of who to adjust or who not to adjust in terms of down dog?
Well, we wouldn't adjust the guy Nettleton Avenue, that's for sure.
Just also be mindful that some, okay, well, I mean, I want you to feel it because sometimes.
Sarah doesn't hear, that's all she doesn't know.
A girl that did a private class for a guy in Nicholson and he ended up feeling like that.
When was that?
We don't know, and.
Penny told us
us
in
the
our
story.
session, yeah.
In Cape Town.
Hmm.
Nettleton.
I don't know where it is.
Because I was saying like, oh, maybe you wouldn't go to like Athlone to go to a class, and she was like, well, this chick went to Nettleton, like the richest place in Cape Town.
And it was so cool because then she told us, God forbid it happens, that you go straight, you don't go to the police, you go straight to Victoria Hospital, all your stuff intact, and they are 100% here to take care of you there.
Guys, just generally, if you ever teach in a private yoga class, But then again, who do you know to trust? You go into a very affluent, wealthy neighborhood, people are willing to pay, you think they're great, just have your own, sometimes you get like a, trust your, okay, okay, so downward facing dog, we know if the student was here, okay, if I push them, maybe they're not going to go anywhere, okay, so we know that sometimes students can bend their knees in order to push their hips back. So let's maybe go over, if I can have someone just do a downward dog for me, even Francesca, it doesn't really matter, because you guys are all pretty happy in your down dogs now. Okay? So a downward dog, hand on sacrum, bony bits of the upper back, not their bum, it's not their rib cage. Okay, so move into a downward facing dog. You can bring your feet a little bit wider. I know you're so used to doing it together. I think it's a Ashtanga way of doing it. Okay. So in her case, I wouldn't adjust much. Maybe just in terms of she might. Okay, are you pretty happy there? So I'm going to make sure that I'm nice and stable. I can use one hand, all right, but it's going to feel nice in terms of two because you do need to push a little bit more than you want to. Okay. So my hand is on her sacrum. Good indicators for girls who wear high-waisted pants is kind of where the band is. Okay, all right. So I'm going to put my hand on my back. I'm not going to, okay. And I'm going to take a nice stance. I'm going to push. How's it feel?
Oh, good.
Do you feel weightless in your hands?
Yeah. I feel less weight in my hand.
Less weight in the hands, okay? When we slowly release, just hang out there. Then you're going to go and feel into the downward dog facing one. So with students that can bend their knees, it's to get their hips up and back as well. So what I can do now, watch what I need to do to get the strap there.
It's like catching a stray dog.
All right. So in this case, I've had to come really close to her bum to place it there. Okay. The strap is in the crease, right? I can't, if she's wearing a jersey, I can't really see where the strap is. Another thing to just take note of. So I don't even know if that strap feels pretty comfortable there. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be nice and strong, and I'm pulling. How's it feel?
Good. You probably gonna lift me up now.
I have had students feel like my hands are lifted. And if your hands lift, don't release it quickly, release it softly. Okay? And then just let one strap drop and pull it out. Okay. So I want you to feel both. I want you to experience both, except for you, Lenny. And so do both and experience both. Okay, so have a look at the stance, nice wide stance, kind of warrior 1 feet.
I am going to. Yeah. I'm going to just.
Okay, so see if you can feel what you feel. Yeah. Push. So you want to push on one side, stay away. Yeah, and then you also want to be. Okay, just pause for a moment before you do it. I want you to have a look at how you're standing, okay? So Francesca, when I ask you to come back here, I need to make sure I'm strong and stable and that I'm pushing with my body, not with my hands, right? So if she's in a downward facing dog and I'm doing this, where am I leaning my weight? What happens if I lose my balance? I'm gonna fall on her. Okay, if I'm leaning and rounding to get the body. Okay, she's fairly short. So get yourself nice and stable. I like standing with the foot on the outside. I also know you can do foot on the inside. I'm a bit shorter than her. But if I'm a warrior one, foot in between the hands, I can actually push straight. Okay. I know this is the way I've done it before. This has been my preference. But foot in between the hands actually does feel nice and stable if you happen to go that way. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
In this case, Inka's hair was on the mat there, so I wouldn't step on her hair, I just take note of it. Okay, pull back. So lean.
Now we're going to go with the
You feel that, Hayes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That looks much better. It's so hard to put up here.
You can do
stand back, take back, and then you go lean it. Okay. I would even say
So jealous
close
that
it
I
down,
have
just
in terms of the back, I won't push you, but instead of like this, right? Like strong, and then I'm just gonna.
You'll start to find that it feels, because you probably pulled it a little too much that it makes
Really?
Okay, so
Basically, does it feel nice?
Yeah, until it comes with someone checks it. When you do the sacrum push, hands straight. I'm not pushing with my hand, I'm pushing with my body. Alright, I'm gonna stand in front of you. And I'm going to give it a small push. Very nice. Straight on this. Draw the baby back straight. Perfect. Yes, very good.
Let me try to distract around.
You see that not too much. So basically a little bit. Okay.
And I'm gonna
So
lift
what
down
you said,
up a
bend
little
it a
bit.
little, sorry, you. And then lift your hips up high.
You come off the ground.
She must have felt nothing in the hand, it's so nice. How did that feel? Put it down slow. So that's the thing is when you're using the strap, some students they hands will look and then they'll kind of freak out. All right.
I'm happy to be That's so fun.
That's quite some really nice. Okay.
I like
So
it.
you know
Because you're not really wrong.
so that's when you remember something like that and just unloading like that. Okay, any feedback experiencing and doing this one?
Very nice.
It's nice to get the adjustment, hey, and then also do the adjustment.
I like it.
Preferred one, sacrum strap?
Strap's very nice.
I
Yeah,
love it.
I don't know, but standing
It's
around
not, it's different, yes, different for each person. Take note also, like someone like Cheryl and Mika, you guys are quite short, okay? So for you guys to pull on a very strong, very tall person, a very strong male,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to, well, no, we're not saying you're not gonna be able to, it's gonna require a lot of hard work
Yeah.
to pull enough for them to get the sensation.
Are you trying to angle them? Because I felt like pulling back felt like it could be sore, so I was trying to pull up a little bit.
You know, the strap
Just a
is,
few-
yeah,
small, like
you wanna get
small.
that lift and length and almost
Okay.
weightlessness in the hand.
Yeah.
So you don't know how it feels like for them, but most of the time we know it does feel nice and light. What did you feel with the sacrum and the push?
Very
Felt
nice.
nice.
Yeah, that's very.
Did you feel you have to push, you can actually push it, you actually have to push quite hard?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just like the
Yeah.
race up in little tap, that's what you actually do.
But it's scary in the beginning because you don't know what it feels like. Like I was like, "Oh, okay," because she's honestly injured. She's like, "Oh."
I love it, I don't mind push, well, also, if I was feeling a little bit maybe on that hamstring and I hadn't said anything, maybe I didn't want, so we don't know every moment of every day.
So if somebody got the tight arm strip, you make them bend their knees first.
If they're kind of like in a position like this, then if they bend their knees to get their hips up, because we kind of want to get that in order to push back, okay? We can't do it if they're like here, you know what I mean? So they need to be somewhat of that V shape first before I can push back. Okay.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, hamstrings, don't look hard enough as it is. Okay, child's pose and then crow pose, okay? So child's pose, if I can just have a volunteer, it's a nice one, so I don't know if you Same thing, hand on sacrum. What do you remember about child's pose?
What do you want me to do? Just not
Yeah.
be as,
No, just as is. So I'm not gonna adjust someone who's very high, because they've obviously stopped there for a reason. I don't want to force anyone down. If someone's very close hips to their heels, maybe I know them, I'm familiar with them, then one hand on the sacrum pushing down, and then a gentle lengthening into the spine. Okay, so once again, you can come and stand here, hand onto the sacrum. I mean, also anytime someone's adjusting, I like to make people know I'm here. Put myself on my feet. Okay? Or just someone knows that you're here before you chuck them in the front, Okay, so one hand onto the sacrum, and then one hand, a little bit of bend. She's pretty much going already.
I feel nice though.
So nice. Okay, release. You could also just do the sacrum if I wanted to do both hands onto the hips, and then when she breathes out, this is just the sacrum one. Okay, feels very nice. Yeah, it's like, come on. Okay, so feel it out on each other. When you're getting adjusted, feel pressure wasn't enough, it was too much. Suck it out, feel with each other.
I can see that I've been like that.
So one hand is kind of on hand. It's more like this. Yeah, I found the job.
And then you just touch the back.
So the sacrum. Okay, so a little bit too hard for me. So I should have clarified that as well. So have a listen, don't worry. So the sacrum is quite a sturdy one. The upper body is a gentle line. Okay, so it's push and a lengthen. So we don't want to push people's rib cages. Okay, but feel what it's like. I don't know, Christina, how did it feel?
It's fine. I've had a teacher sit on my back.
Who has it? But just feel it. And then that push you like a gentle line. Okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Even softer than
It's
that.
not, so is that not too hard?
No.
Yeah, so it's more like a lengthen. When you touch it,
feels
then
really nice.
so very much so you should be
Instead of my bum being
so exactly, and then all of this stuff, so your shoulders, some people they might not understand. Push to the palm of the hand. And then with this one, because you're pointing down, so with two hands.
You'll see, it's so nice.
No, you need a little bit of weight. You can push it right off. Okay, so it's like on your middle back, So you're good asking her is fine, just bring her out. But you're not gonna do it standing rather than kneeling. So sacrum you can, sorry. So if you think, I know it's kind I'm going to do your other hands. That actually was pretty hot. Okay, did everyone experience it and be a demo and be an adjuster?
Yeah.
Okay, how did this one feel?
Nice.
It's like, I love it. Yeah, it feels really nice. But if the flexibility allows for it and you like folding deeper into the pose. Okay, last one, crow pose. Event. Well, I need to choose someone who's also like, well, your crow pose is pretty fun. Okay, so we saw crow pose. All right, so I'm going to sit on the top of the mat, of her mat. all right? I know my student fairly well, and you're gonna come and do croquet like, see, left hand's really good, so your hand's gonna be like that.
Just now,
Okay.
it's just all.
So you can come all the way Very cute. Okay, so do you remember what the crow pose adjustment looks like?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hold her shoulders. Why do I wanna hold her shoulders?
She doesn't fall forward.
So she doesn't fall forward. If she does, she's gonna fall on me and it's gonna be interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna set herself up so she's gonna have her feet together. Okay, so I would have known already. Okay, so even if you can't get your toes together, just so you can squeeze your heels together later on. Bring your knees wide, nestle your elbows in, your hands can come a little bit closer towards you. Okay, now you can say look forward, lean forward. Okay, I'm gonna hold into your arms. Okay, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Now if you look, she is literally. It is a bit weird, but I can say look forward and look towards me.
That's still weird.
But even just feel what it's like. It's actually really helpful for a lot of students. Because I might not have, I'm holding it out, even though I know she can probably come up without me holding it.
Yeah.
But it's really helpful. Just want to do it one more time. If I'm holding it, I can say I can't pull there.
Oh!
It feels really nice.
It's very cool because you don't even, I'm gonna fall on my face.
No, you won't fall because I'm going to hold you. And if she feels like she's going to fall, I'm going to push her back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to push her back. I'm going to gently guide her back.
Yeah.
It actually really does feel quite nice.
Do you think you can do it sitting on your?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Should work.
I can. I don't have as much strength in my
Okay, yeah.
arms. Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit lower down.
Further away from the ground.
It really doesn't feel that odd, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing this with students I know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have bolstered it.
And you're concentrating.
You do have to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
safe
yeah.
to hold their shoulders and it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Try it out. Have a look at your
Are
shoulder.
you trying to?
You're quite large, so it's
Okay.
Okay.
Bring your arms together.
Internal boily, but I know you've got this one.
So you do need to be really close to them because your hands need to be in front of their shoulders. You want to
You don't need that.
You might be a little bit too close.
She needs space to move forward.
Okay, so you're probably a little bit too feet in. She's doing great. She's doing quite high. And you will have to actually hold your arms. So even if she doesn't need to hold you, you feel it takes some time away. Yeah. So even if your partner, very nice guys, even if your partner is super happy with the crow, feel what it feels like to take their weight. Because otherwise you're gonna think so, and then someone who hasn't done a crow is gonna put all their weight into you. So give that person, even if you're a bit scared, feel what it feels like. Okay, so I'm going to.
Are you in?
Yeah.
Going to sit.
Does it feel better when I take the weight, or does it not hurt?
So you feel how it's like, yeah. You like it. So
we know.
It feels like now you're